Rev up your engine! One of the most annoying things is your car's running okay, but you go to get it inspected and it fails the test. When we plug in the old scan tool, and any scan tool will read this, even a $20 one, it shows it's got PO100 mass volume airflow A circuit. And here's how that circuit works. This is a mass airflow sensor. Inside it, little electronic part. It measures how many grams of air flow into the engine per second, and then tells the computer how much fuel to send to the fuel injector so the car runs perfectly. So let's open the hood and find it. Here it is, right here. Bolts on here, snaps on here. Now if we look closely, we'll see there's no frayed wiring or anything. Sometimes the wiring gets frayed. Sometimes that's the problem. Sometimes you can even clean them with mass airflow sensor cleaner. You want to use just this because it leaves no residue. But I've been working on these things for years, and I know when it gets that particular coat on a Nissan, it's a problem in the circuit. It's not dirt or anything. It's not running rich or lean. There's a problem in the circuit. And from my experience in these, it's always the sensor itself is just wearing out. Now, if you feel lucky, you can take it out and clean it. I got a whole video on cleaning it. Make your car run better with a little spray cleaner. You can watch that in one if you feel real lucky. But with this particular coat, there's a problem in the circuit. And from my experience, there's only 3 things that can do that. A bad sensor, bad wiring, or a bad main computer. Now, I've looked at this wiring. I don't see anything frayed, and where it frays is always at the end where the sensor is. I see them where they get brittle, where they come apart. I'm going to unsnap it just to make sure it's not corroded and green though. So we'll squeeze it and pull it off. And let's look inside. As you can see, it's pretty well sealed with these seals. Everything is shiny and metal. There's no corrosion there. When we look inside here, it's kind of dark. It doesn't look bad, but I got to take it off and inspect it in the sun. So we'll unscrew this. This is all one piece. We'll just unbolt the air filter box and pull the whole thing off. Out it comes. Now, as you can see in the sunlight, this is crystal clean. Not dirty, no problem with that. We're just going to replace it. Easy job. Just take the bolts off. It's a lot easier doing this once you get it off the car. All kinds of working room here. Even that one's kind of tight because that's in the way. Isn't that typical? You take all those off, and normally you got to measure which way it goes so you don't put it backwards. It's got a little marker on here and it says airflow goes this way. But in this case, you don't have to worry because one end bolts on, the other's different. So you can't put this one on backwards. A lot of them, both ends are the same, and you could put it in backwards, it wouldn't run right. But this, it only bolts on one way, so you don't have to worry with this design. And here you want to use a new one. Rebuilt ones, you never know. This is brand new. It's already got a new gasket, just bolts on. Get all 4 bolts on, and make sure they're all tight. Get them nice and snug. You don't want any air leaking past it. Just flip it over and do the other side. It's important that you have an airtight seal because this is all filtered air. You don't want non-filtered air with dirt in. That will ruin these things. These are hot mass airflow sensors. When you shut the car off, it burns any impurities off these wires by getting them glowing red hot. If you get any dirt on that, it'll make it burn itself out. Just like if you touched the filament of a light bulb with your greasy hands, it'd ruin it. So make sure it's nice and tight. Then we put it back on. First thing, slip it over the rubber. Then when that's slipped over, put the air box in its place. Make all the snaps click. Realize there's ones up here too, and one you can't even see on the other side. But you'll hear it click when I hit it. There. Then we just tighten up the clamp. Get it nice and tight. You don't want air leaking there especially. And while you're at it, go to the other side, follow it, make sure everything's solid. Make sure that's all bolted on tight. It is. Okay, then we go back inside, and what we do is, with the scan tool hooked up, we will turn the ignition key on. So the key is on, the idiot lights are on, but the car's not running. Then we go to the code reader and go back, and what we want to do is erase codes. So we'll go to diagnostic codes up here, erase codes, yes. So we click yes, guess we got to click it twice. There. Then we enter, turn key on with engine off, enter. Now it's erasing the code. You have to erase it because if you fix it, eventually it will erase itself, but that could take a while, and this is instantaneous. You can see now it says there's no codes, but we don't trust anyone, so we'll go back. We'll go back to read codes, and let's see what it says. No codes found. So now it's reset. And now comes the easy, boring part. We just start it up. and let it warm up. We've reset it, but cars have what's called a drive cycle. And in order to pass the emissions test, it has to go through the drive cycle. So we're going to take it on a highway, going 55 miles an hour or faster, then drive it in town a little and see what happens. What we're going to do here is we're going to go to special functions. As we do special functions, it's quite interesting. We want the global OB2, and what we're going to is the drive cycle monitor. And as you can see here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 incomplete monitors. So I'll restart the car, and we're going to watch these. Now there's only 4. It's already reset one. Most vehicles, it'll pass inspection that it has to have just 1 monitor incomplete. There's 4 now. But this is an old car. It's a 98. And back in those days, you're still allowed to have 2 incomplete. So we just have to drive it until there's only 2 incompletes. Then we can get it inspected. And as I said, you got to drive it on the highway a while at 55, 60 miles an hour. So here we go. And wouldn't you know it, I got a road testing going fast. Here I am in a massive traffic jam in Houston. Isn't that just typical? Just realize that sometimes it takes a while, especially these older cars. Drive it and watch the monitors until it's down to 2. Well, now it's getting down there. And hooray, now it's down to 2, we can go back. Now, as I said, most modern cars, when they're 2000 or newer, you can only have 1 mil not ready to pass the test. But this is a 98, so with 2 mils not ready, it will pass the test. Okay, now there's only 2 mils not ready. That means this particular one in 98 will pass the test. But we got to make sure one thing. We're going to go back, diagnostic codes, here we go, and pray it hasn't said any while we were driving. So here goes nothing. Read codes, no codes found. That means it's going to pass the emissions test. And we succeeded, hurrah! Sometimes it's a pretty easy job if you use your noggin. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Number 1, Pack says, Packer fan, I'm thinking about getting another Oldsmobile 98, year 92, and a Lexus 2009 460. What's your thoughts on these cars? If you like the Oldsmobiles, and you can find one up in Green Bay that isn't rotting away from all the salt in the winter, 92, Oldsmobile 98s are a lot better made. They were pretty solid cars. If you like one, go right ahead. Now, the Lexus 460, I am not a fan of people buying used V8 Lexuses because the parts cost a lot of money and they're very, very, very expensive to maintain when they break down. That's the V8 Lexus engine. Let's say the starter breaks. You got to take the intake manifold off to get to the starter, so it's a very expensive job. Most guys are going to charge over $1,000 to replace that starter. Stupid design. And the V8s are like that. The V6s and the 4s and the Lexuses, they aren't designed that way. So in that case, I'd say you're better off fiddling around with an Oldsmobile that's old than with the later model Lexus, because the Lexus is going to cost money, a lot of money to fix when it breaks down. Mark Treville says, do you think French brands like Peugeot will be able to hit the American market? Well, you know, Peugeot, I kind of doubt it, because just did a deal where they merged with Fiat and Chrysler. Fiat and Chrysler are failing. Peugeot's kind of failing. 3 fails don't make a pass. I doubt that they'd be dumb enough to bring Peugeot into the United States. When Fiat bought Chrysler, they started importing the Fiats in the United States. Now, they're talking about pulling the Fiats out. They still own the Chryslers. They were talking about pulling Fiats out because nobody's buying them because of poor sales. They sold Peugeots in the United States years ago, and they were massive failures. Nobody knew how to fix them. The parts cost a fortune. I know in Europe, people happen to like them because they make good diesel engines. And over there, they drove a lot of diesels, but they're getting away from that too, so they're trying to not pollute. So eventually, they'll probably get rid of diesel cars in Europe. So that was their main market, was selling diesel cars to people, but I doubt if they do. If they do, I think they're stupid. Unless it's a deal where they've really perfected electric cars and everybody's going to electric cars, and yeah, we might see them making electric cars. But gasoline and diesel cars in the United States, I don't think so. Val Gelata says, Scotty, I was on Craigslist and saw a 2006 Impala SS for $800 with a brand new transmission with a 12-month warranty. Okay, I'm assuming the transmission has a 12-month warranty. They're endless money pits to begin with. And if you're paying $800 when it has a new transmission, if it was really a new transmission, brand new, geez, the guy would have paid thousands and thousands for that. So it'd be stupid that he'd be selling it at that price. It's probably a load of hogwash. Don't even think about buying that car. I had a customer about 6 months ago be in the same type of situation. And I told him, I said, look, if you're absolutely nuts about it. And he said, oh, he went there and it was a scam. The guy was pulling some kind of eBay scam. So I'm assuming that's probably some kind of scam. Doesn't really have real transmission that was put in it with a year warranty, and the rest of the car's no warranty anyways. There are junky cars for $800. You can put your money better into something else. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.